This is Valley News Live at 6.
Well, of course, everybody's happy. You know, when you survive something like that, they do not want to come to a charred body.
A local pilot was lucky earlier this week being able to walk away after his plane went down near Detroit Lakes.
Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz checks out the damage and sits down with the pilot for an exclusive interview.
So there was no fear at all, even right when you knew something was wrong?
No, none whatsoever.
It started with an engine failure.
It's like your accelerator pedal on your car. Well, I pushed it forward and there was no response.
Followed by a quick decision. How long was that time period from the moment you realized something was wrong and you crash landed into the cornfields?
15 seconds.
For Detroit Lakes pilot Ted Kibke, who's been flying for nearly 60 years, it all came down to experience.
If this situation would have happened to a young, inexperienced pilot, no, they wouldn't have made it.
The pilot managed to crash land deep into this Detroit Lakes cornfield. Once the propeller hit the corn stalks, it caused the plane to flip over.
As the airplane was actually going over, I had unstrapped my lap belt and just kind of fell out of the airplane after that.
He says he managed to sustain no injuries. That is, until he rushed out of the plane.
When the aircraft came to a stop, pilots want to get away from that aircraft because the thing that we fear the most is the fire. And the first thing I did was cut my knee on my seat cushion.
Then bumping his head on a stabilizer.
I think it's rather appealing.
Kibke says the key to crash landing safely is not to panic.
Airplanes are inherently stable. If you let go of them, they'll fly.
The 76-year-old emerged from his amateur-built acrosport to a large greeting party.
Everybody in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota.
From emergency responders to friends and onlookers.
The first things they said, "My God, Ted, you got 9 lives."
All relieved to see a man walking away alive. The incident's under investigation by the Federal Aviation Administration, as well as the Becker County Sheriff's Office. In Detroit Lakes, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
A sergeant with the Becker County Sheriff's Office tells us when he saw the pilot walking away that night with just minor bumps and bruises, a huge weight lifted off his chest.
Now that the rain has moved through, we're ready for some drier weather. Let's find out if that'll be happening this evening. Here's Hutch with your no-wait weather.
In short, Mike, yes, the tornado watch that was in effect for our lakes counties has been dropped. It's mainly going to be an active night down to the south. But boy, did we have some active weather heading in through the late afternoon and evening. Those icons you see there, reports of significant hail, mainly in Grant, Otter Tail, and Wadena counties. Here's a picture of some of that hail in Donley, Minnesota. Reported to be golf ball size. Thanks, Connie, for sharing your photo. There were showers in Wadena County. Those have since dissipated, so it looks quiet this evening. Temperatures slipping after sunset into the 60s. Wind will be light. Mike, it's still a little sticky out there with those dew points high, the humidity high, and it could fuel a few more showers in your forecast for the weekend. I'll have details on all of that here in a moment.
Look forward to that. Thanks.
You bet.
Moorhead police need help finding a missing teenager. She's about 5'8", 180 pounds, with blonde hair and teal highlights. She was last seen on Wednesday at West Acres Mall wearing black shorts with a green stripe, a black tank top, and black sandals. Moorhead police believe she is currently in the Fargo-Moorhead area or Detroit Lakes. If you have any information, call your local law enforcement.
It's time to take a look at this week's Valley's Most Wanted. Police say 27-year-old Holly Shower is wanted for theft and probation violation on a drug charge. Her photo's up on your screen right now. You're urged to call Fargo Police or local law enforcement if you have any information on her whereabouts. In Grand Forks, the county sheriff there is asking for your help in finding Trevor Stevens. He has 2 felony warrants for terrorizing. Stevens allegedly threatened to kill 2 people, one being a child. If you have any information, call 701-780-8280.
Moorhead police are warning the public about a sex offender who will soon be living in the city. They say 62-year-old Richard Folden is being released next week and plans on living near 1st Avenue and 21st Street South in Moorhead. Folden has a history of sexually assaulting girls and teenagers and has used threats against his victims. Valley City Police are warning of a sex offender living within the city at 204 3rd Avenue Southeast, unit number 5. 23-year-old Kyle Greeno has been assigned a high-risk level. He was convicted of gross sexual imposition in 2015 when he engaged in a sexual act with a 14-year-old female.
5 people have been arrested and accused of being part of a regional crime ring after attempting to cash a fake check at a Fargo bank. Amy Murray, Jordan Earring, Randy Fritz, Mara Ramirez, and Michael Bowman were all arrested on several counterfeiting charges. Fargo PD say these 5 have cashed several fake checks throughout the FM area and Grand Forks. All of the suspects are from Fargo or West Fargo, except for Bowman, who had no listed permanent address.
Moorhead police are investigating a missing pit bull after a possible burglary at the FM Animal Hospital that happened sometime between Wednesday night and Thursday morning. It's not clear if the dog is just missing or was stolen, but police say nothing else was taken from the animal hospital in that possible burglary. Scanner traffic indicated that an employee left a door unlocked Wednesday night, and that's when the dog was taken, but Moorhead police were not able to confirm that detail. Police say this is an active and open investigation, so if you have any information, you're urged to call dispatch at 701-451-7660.
Fargo police are celebrating an achievement they haven't seen in decades. They're currently fully staffed. And while this means the department can cut back on overtime pay, it's also a win for the entire community.
If we could hire an officer who has experience someplace else, that impacts the community. There's less cost in training, less time on the road for training, and then having that experienced officer show up at your door is a benefit to the community members.
Going to those community block parties, stopping in at the lemonade stands and talking with children and doing those kind of things, where if we were understaffed and really busy, we aren't going to be able to do that kind of stuff because we're going call to call to call.
The interest in law enforcement careers represents a change. Over the past few years, police forces have seen a decline in applications.
Newly introduced legislation in both the North Dakota Senate and House would return criminal jurisdiction to the Spirit Lake Nation for crimes committed on the reservation. The legislation would repeal a federal statute that authorizes the state to prosecute certain crimes committed by or against Indians on the reservation. Senator Hovind's office pointed out in a release today, the Spirit Lake Nation has its own tribal court system and law enforcement.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, come for a ride aboard a World War II B-25 bomber, which is here for the Fargo Air Show.
More pictures from the Donnelly, Minnesota area as large hail fell right in town. Connie capturing the White Lawn and Julie capturing, well, a little bit of hail in the pool. Your forecast for the weekend ahead is coming up right after this.